In terms of the QFS, we don't talk enough about that really. You know that I signed a non-circumventing, non-disclosure agreement. There are certain things that I can say and certain things that I can't say. And this QFS, if goes to plan, is a world changer. It's a revolutionary changer, simply because it will deprive the very evil people of their ability to oil the machine. And I wanted just to pass you a funny story, true story, not third hand, not out of a book. I didn't dream it up. It happened to me, and it's important because it shows the understanding of the QFS in the banking system. Like if I go out on the street here, onto the sidewalk, and I stop 100 ordinary people, and I say to them, do you know what the QFS is? Well, I should think only one person would know what the heck I was talking about. So here we go. I wanted to buy some cat food on eBay. I do that. And the damn thing wasn't taking my card. And I thought, oh, right, so who's blocking it this time, So it phoned up my bank and said, this is what's happening. Can you look into it and tell me if you blocked my card? So they looked into it and said, no, not at all. No problem. Don't understand what the issue is. It's probably a glitch with eBay. Give it 10 minutes. And I thought I'd try it. So I said, look, do you think it's anything to do with this QFS that I hear is coming in? And the person I spoke to, and I'll do it, it's a woman, she said, no. I said to her, I'll take that as a no then. Now what's interesting is that here's a person whose job is to sit on the other end of the phone and unblock people's cards or do checks. And yet she knew all about the QFS and she didn't like it. And the reason I don't like it is the QFS is not a banking instrument. In other words, it's not something that the banks have dreamt up to fleece money off the likes of you and the likes of me or businesses. It's not another tool in their armory to strip money away from ordinary hardworking people and stick it up the 12th floor of an office and make millionaires, multi-millionaires. So they don't like the QFS. But what I thought was really interesting is if I go out on the sidewalk, I'm probably lucky if I find 1 in 1,000 who knows what the QFS is. But here are people who are not on £1 million. These are ordinary people working the phone lines. They clearly know what their bosses think. And they were very, very aware of the QFS. And I thought that's interesting because they know what's coming and they don't like it. And the sad thing is that the vast majority of the public don't know what's coming. And what is coming is a vast number of wealthy people are literally pulling their money out of the stock market and putting it in gold or property. I don't mean like, the high street property. I'm talking about high-end mansions all over the world. If you can take the trouble to have a look, you will find that the number of super expensive properties is just disappearing overnight because people are realizing at that level that their money ain't safe. And therefore, they're going to invest in bricks and mortar and gold. So a lot of people now pulling out of cryptocurrencies. Notice maybe that the governor of the Bank of England has now basically made a statement saying, if you are prepared to lose everything in Bitcoin or crypto or any of the electronic monies, that's fine. Play the game, but you must be prepared to lose everything. And that's a second warning now. So when people say to me, what do you think about cryptocurrencies? I think probably it's a good thing at a later date. And I've always been cautious. Those of you who've been really kind and listened to me for 11 years now, you will know that I've never been enthusiastic about cryptos under the current banking system. I've always been very cautious. Oh, sure, people who came in and bought them at $100 coin are laughing. But they're only laughing if they sell now and make all of that profit. And good luck to you. Good luck to you. You know, so many hugely wealthy people play the game and they do well. Why shouldn't ordinary people do well on it? And that moves us to the QFS and how ordinary people should do well on it. For too long on this planet, greedy people, evil people, loud people, violent people, nasty people, pushy people, have always got what they wanted because the system has rewarded that. And the good, quiet, gentle, spiritual people got very little because we've been encouraged, you know, he who shouts loudest gets the most. You know, that's what we've been encouraged. Well, we're on the verge now of moving away from that. You know, if you have a dog, and I know many of you do, and it has bad behavior, you tell it off. And when it has good behavior, you might give it a doggy treat. That's apparently what they're called. And you reward good behavior. So what's been happening is bad behavior has been rewarded, and it makes young kids see that reward and they emulate it and they copy it and they do it. So now let's start to see what happens when we award or reward good behavior, where spiritual behavior or good behavior, service to others, is rewarded. That's going to be very interesting because for many people, it's not a natural thing. They're not naturally spiritual. But if they know they're going to be rewarded for being good, then it may be for what you and I might consider the wrong reasons, but they're nevertheless being educated and modeled and shown how to behave, and they're going to be rewarded to do that. The QFS will do that. I know there's still a ton of people out there who don't, and I understand, not fully got the head. What is the QFS in the sense, how will it impact our lives? How will it change the world? Well, don't expect to come back until the QFS is firmly embedded in our world. And it's getting there. It's not there yet, but it's getting there. You know, the QFS is part of the special program that was really created in the early 1960s and cost President Kennedy his life. 9/11, third time lucky, eh, guys? Third time lucky, white hats. So what we hope is no tax. And we'll see the end of income tax. If you're self-employed or you work for an employer, if they're true to their word, right back to the early 60s, the plan, you won't pay income tax. Now in Great Britain, that's about 25%, 24, 25%. So that would be equal to a pay rise of 24, 25%. Imagine what that would do to Brits. You got 25%, a quarter more in your pay packet each week or each month. Simpler because you're not paying tax anymore. The employer doesn't have to give you a pay rise. It'd be nice if they did, but they don't because you're effectively going to get that. Now that's on the cards. That's part of the spiritual humanitarian aspect to the QFS. And, you know, we talk about, you know, tier 5, which is the general public, how the general public are going to benefit from this. And that's not clear yet. And we'll wait on that. But what is clear is that there is a massive change coming to benefit good people and to basically flood the earth with spiritual humanitarian projects, which will revolutionize the delivery of services, the way that we treat one another, and basically force big companies or corporations to change or die. And what I mean by that is that if you operate a culture and you suddenly find that you're out of step because the world is moving through the generation of monies which are being targeted towards projects that are spiritual and compassionate to humankind, and you're running a multinational which for decades has literally treated people like slaves and ripped them off, and the atmosphere and the environment changes, then you have to change to survive. So rather than, you know, running a TV ad or making speeches in Parliament, the best way to do it is to direct millions and millions and millions of pounds, dollars, whatever it will be. We're going to call it the new note, at a particular area, and through that dynamic injection of cash, you will actually change the course of history. Now, those are grand words and it sounds a lot, but that's what's coming. And as I say, don't think it's easy. It cost the president his life. It cost many things. And that is why it's so torturous, because the white hats fully appreciate that the bad people will stop at nothing to prevent this if they can. The good news is that they haven't. And when people say, look, the war is won, I truly understand what they mean, but I cringe when someone says to me the war's won, because for many people it doesn't look like it. You know, if you're sitting at the top table, I guess, you know the war is won because you have access to all of the facts and you see it happening. But if you don't, and most of us don't, then it's very hard to accept the war is won because you see so much badness. And finally, I just wanted to go to a topic that many people won't touch. That's a good thing, I think, about connecting consciousness. We should be prepared to go where people don't like to talk. Why haven't the military stepped in and done something? Why is this happening? And to answer it, I'm going to give you something interesting. A friend of mine, his father invented a game. Talked about this, and it's so relevant. Invented a board game. And he said to the company, it was John Waddington's games maker, people who make Monopoly, said, I want this to be affordable to everybody. So please, can you make it cost price and as cheap as possible? They argued and argued and argued, but hey, it was his invention and his game, and they knew they were going to make a ton of money on it. They said, okay, fine, we'll do it, but it's not going to work. And he was confident it would work. Yeah, but it's going to come in at rock bottom prices. Out on the shelf it went. Terrible take up. And he was devastated. And he said to Waddington's, well, I don't know what's gone wrong. And they said, we do. Hey, listen, we're talking the 1930s here. 1930s. They said, we do. Double the price. He said, double the price? Yeah, double the price. Double the price, they flew off the shelves. Because even back in the 1930s, the concept was, well, it's that expensive, it must be good. Now, if I was to stand and give books out for free, everyone would take a book because, oh, it's free. But would they read it? Probably not, because they've not got any energy into it. But if I make a person pay for a book, they might read it because, hey, I paid for that. I'm going to get my money's worth. So if, and all these troubles, particularly in America, but across the world, but America, if the 7th Cavalry comes galloping in and says, don't worry, guys, we'll do everything for you. They put it all right, they said it right, and they go off again. How much emotional energy buy-in has there been by the American people to that? Would they then again sit back and let all of the bad people get back into positions of power over a period of time? Most likely. So whilst it is not a nice topic, the white hats want the general public to experience what happens when evil satanic people take control of a country. And they do so because the citizens were too busy to be involved in their local clubs or their local school boards or their local government or this or that. We're too busy paying the mortgage or paying the rent, or too busy. The only thing we have time for is go to church, but we're too busy to do everything else. And so what happened is that these evil people came in, took these positions, and they were exposed even in mainstream media. There are some governors that we can think of. And instead of removing them, what do the people do? They shrug their shoulders and say, yeah, but you know, what can I do about it? And over many years, these evil people became entrenched and created what we have today in the United States of America. So I believe what the white hats are doing is they're saying, before we come in and do what ultimately they have to do. We want the general public to live and experience what it's actually like when you let these people run our country. And I think just as that person who paid double the price for this 1930s board game very proudly took it back, his or her children, and then on a Sunday opened the game out and they all played it, and it was carefully put away because they paid so much for this game, put it away on the shelf, and then friends came round and they very proudly took it out. In the same way, people need to be proud of their constitution in America. They need to be proud of what they've fought for and what they've regained. And unfortunately, that's lacking, or has been lacking, in many areas of the United States. And so I think what the White Hats want to do is to get people being proud again. Yes, believing in God and the values of God. And I don't mean the Bible. I'm talking about the values of, good versus evil. Because this isn't a battle between a political party and something. This is a battle between good and evil. And I think if a person of any standing has to fight or put in a lot of effort to gain something, you're not likely easy to give it up. If you spend months training to be a swimming champion, okay, and you go to the Olympics and you swim the best as you can and you win the gold medal, and 4 years come round again and it's time for that swimming champion, if you sort of think, I don't need to do much work, I'll probably just do 1 or 2 sessions a week, it's easy, I'll get there, you're going to lose and that medal's taken off you. But if you're diligent and you work hard and you train effectively, then you are protecting what you have regained. And I think that's what's happening, that the American public are experiencing what it's like when you let go of the steering wheel of a country. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm telling you that's the thinking behind it. And if that's right, and the American people put in that work and that effort, and they regain and take back their country, because it's been such a struggle, they are unlikely easily to let the evil people ever again take control of it. And I do want the truth out. I really do. This thing, we don't seem to be allowed to say that, do we? We seem to say, oh, child. And I'm very cross, this concept of child, beat up old tin tub, or a few kids coming here and there. The reality is it's a well-oiled operation. And I really want that truth to come out. I want the truth about people and who's been involved. I want that out as much as I do about life on other planets. Those who've been with me from the early journey know that I passionately want disclosure about Roswell. I passionately want disclosure about all of the other alien and tech equipment that governments of the world have been dealing with. But I also want things like, because that is the root damage to the fabric of humanity. And I do think that the human race is ready to have the truth. And I really want the truth laid out on a table. Don't hide anything, guys. Let the public see it. And if some people choose to collapse into tears, that's up to them, But the evil people decided what you and I could know. How many times have I said to you, you look on the BBC or the CNN or YouTube or anyone, and it says what you need to know. What you need to know about this, what you need to know about that. It shows how arrogant they are, that they are actually deciding what you need to know. Has anybody asked you, what actually would you like to know? Oh no, we'll tell you what you need to know, because everything you need to know is in these 3 sentences. And we'll tell you exactly what we want to tell you. So this arrogance, which pervades every arm of corporations, government, tech, a lot, needs to be overturned. And it won't be overturned unless the people of a country or the people of the world challenge it and refuse to accept it and fight it through whatever method that they can find. And once those people have regained that precious jewel of truth and freedom, why would you ever let it go? So listen, I think this is very exciting times to come. I know some of the other commentators, they veer between it's the end of the world, doom and gloom, we're all dead, right through to, happy slappy, everything's fine, you don't need to do anything, just sit back and have the popcorn and enjoy the show. Well, I sit in the middle of that. I certainly don't think we're all doom and gloom, but I don't believe that we need to be sitting in an armchair eating popcorn. That is actually treating people as idiots. And I'm sorry if I'm upsetting any white hats, but you're not talking to the military here. You're talking to civilians who don't want to be treated like that. And the reality is that people are suffering, they are hurting, and there'll come a time, I think, when others will have to step in and do what they need to do. And that's why what happened at the Pentagon relatively recently is a step in that direction. So I want to get back to doing the nice podcasts with our question and answer, where Becky takes all the questions from CC members and we put that on. I'm looking forward to doing that. In terms of CC, like every other organization, we have issues, but we are moving forward. We're growing in size. And, we are very hopeful in the next few weeks. We'll have some very exciting announcements for you. All right. Thank you. Take care.